Chat with Q, where we talk about everything. So, for our very first episode, I have a absolute like my brother, my partner in crime, Mr. Terrell Luckett, aka Remus.
How you doing? How you doing? It's good to see you.
Welcome to Chat with Q. I'm so glad you're my very first guest.
Thank you very much for having me.
So we're just gonna get things kicked off.
Okay.
Can you just tell me a little bit about who you are and where you're from?
Yes, I'm Ray Musonk. I'm an art director slash writer, etc. It goes on and on in the field of the entertainment world. I do music, I do editing for movies and commercials and events. So I'm also working on a cartoon right now called The Adventures of Nubu.
Okay.
And I also have a Planet X website that goes into details about a lot of the projects and um, costumes and sets that I do make for these type of events. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I did hear you say that you sang. Is that right?
Oh no, we're not doing that today. Not today.
Okay,
but
I
but
get.
I do. But if you go to Google, go to Google, look me up on SoundCloud, Remus Unk, and you
Okay.
can hear some of the tracks that I do have out there. Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. So today we're going to talk about a little bit of culture and just a little bit about of who Mr. Remus is.
Okay.
So you lived in Africa for about 15 years, is that correct?
Yes, I have. I actually left in 2008 and stayed at 15 years. I went to Ghana first. Ghana was a beautiful place.
Hmm.
Um, con- it was a culture shock, definitely, because of the fact that number one, we have been totally stereotyped here in America how Africa was,
Hmm.
and you see it on TV and everything, and so when you're talking about going there for the very first time, you would assume that they're wearing afros and and lots of braids and everything, all the women and stuff, and it's totally the opposite. They're wearing wigs and weave and they're bleaching their skin. So yeah, it's totally the opposite over there.
That is
Um,
very interesting.
mm, yes, yes. And again, I was totally thrown off a little bit because I like to go about teaching and I like the importance of us as a race of people as our within our culture and studying about the mysticals and the historic mysteries of our our culture overall. So the thing is that when I got there, I went to a place called Techiman,
Hmm.
and Techiman is like they call it the bush. And when I got there, it was just totally odd, totally different.
Wow.
Um, it was totally different from America. When you're talking about chickens and goats running in and out the windows, and you have typhoid fever there, you have malaria there, you have a lot of different things. And I'm not just going to focus on the negativity.
Hmm.
The people there, what I do love about Africa, out of all of the places that I did go,
Hmm.
Ghana was amazing, and I would go back because the peace. They do have a lot of peace there, what I'm saying, in their heart, and they do try their best to work things out. Even if there's any type of problems, no matter what it is, they try their best to iron it out. Unlike some cultures, they don't.
Wow, that's amazing. What are
Yeah.
the religions like over there? Are there
Oh,
very
they're very religious. When it comes down to Christianity, I would
uh-huh.
say a good 90% are Christians, um, and the other group will be Islamic or Muslims. They will be Muslims. So it's
Oh,
basically Islam and Muslim over there.
okay.
Um, and of course, they do have their tribes, which they look at the tribe totally different from their religious set. So that's interesting too. You would think that they would kind of incorporate the two worlds, but they don't.
Really?
Yes, totally. They were like they believe in God, they believe in Jesus, they believe in what is it? The life after next and everything.
Mhm.
But when it comes out to their traditions, some of because they have over 30 tribes out there,
Oh
so
wow.
you're talking about different types of uh, upbringings and beliefs. So I can be talking to the Akans, for example, and they have their way of their way of thinking out there. I could talk to the Ashantis, and then they have their way of thinking. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So everybody has their own way of because of their tribe or their traditions. They have their own belief system on how they should handle matters and deal with things. Um,
Really?
yeah, it's really interesting.
Really? Wow.
Like the kinds. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So when you were over in Africa, were you Christian, Muslim? Were you a part of the tribe, if you don't mind me asking?
I was always a Christian. Always a Christian. So I came in as a Christian over there. I started teaching Christianity on
Oh
that side
wow.
on different levels because see, I'm not just your typical Christian. I study our culture. I go deeper into the books. You know what I'm saying? I go back into the languages and everything. So in
Right.
studying the language, a lot of the things that was presented over there, I threw them off. Put it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And because of their personal language, and because they're trying to understand Americans overall, and then they're trying to understand the Bible, they're trying to get a grasp of everything,
Hmm.
including their own traditional upbringing.
Oh
So
wow.
me coming with the knowledge and wisdom that I'm coming to the table with, they're like, "Whoa, we never heard something like this. This is different." For example, if I'm saying that Jesus is a black man, for example,
Hmm.
they are like, "Whoa, according to these pictures we see, and they
Hmm.
saturate Africa or Ghana, for example, they saturate Ghana with so many pictures of Isa or Jesus being white everywhere you go, everywhere, which threw me off. Um, because I know in the scriptures, according to the Bible, the book of Revelation, chapter 1, the 14, 15, 16 verse, it describes him as a black man. It says his head and his hair was white like wool, and the only woolly haired beings are us, you know. Eyes flame of fire, feet unto fine brass, as if it burned in the furnace. You take brass and burn it, what happens? You know? So
Hmm.
so the key when you burn brass is brown or dark.
Hmm.
So this is where you get a dark pigment, pigmentation of a guy. Um, and another thing too, because I had a guy in Ghana. He actually challenged me on that. He was like, "Well, that wasn't Jesus. That was just an image or an angel or something like that." He brought to the table, and I looked at him and said, "Well, okay, I'll give you that." I said, "Let's not even worry about that chapter. Let's leave that alone. Let's go into." I said, let's go into the book of Revelation, chapter 22 to 16, verse when Jesus out of his own mouth said, I'm from the offspring of David. And we all know David had a son by the name of Solomon. And if you read Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, the fifth verse, it says, I'm black. And I explained that. And he couldn't explain it. I said, Jesus
Interesting.
is from the same exact lineage. No,
Interesting.
you follow what I'm saying? So, and then when you read John chapter 1, it tells you his whole descendants, his
Mhm.
whole lineage, his whole family tree is right there, Jesus. So if Jesus was a black man, then it locks up that all of his people was black too.
Well, um,
But according to the Bible,
well, I will
according to the
say
book of
this.
Revelation.
I
Hmm.
believe differently. I believe
Okay,
that Jesus was a
okay. And
um
it's cool. It's cool.
I
Like I
do.
said, like I said, my thing is to go into the scriptures and give you
Mhm.
chapter verses and break it down thoroughly, and then walk you through step by step so that you can get a true understanding, not just what we've been trained or what we was brought up to believe. But that's how I feel. But go ahead.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to bring you back on so we can talk about that
Yeah,
because you already
definitely.
know how I feel about
Oh
that.
yeah, girl. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to definitely bring you back on for like
No
another episode
problem.
so we can talk about that. Um, Yeah, because you already know it's on now. It's
No,
definitely
what's
on.
on? Let's bring
It's,
it.
it's my first episode, so we gonna keep it PG.
No problem. I'm with
we
you.
gonna keep,
I'm
we
with
gonna
you.
we gonna keep it. Praise God. So
Let's do it. Oh yeah, praise God. Definitely. Definitely.
um so can you tell me a little bit about your projects? Tell me a little bit about Nubu and Planet X.
Okay. Planet X. Let me walk you quick. Well, Nubu. Let me start with Nubu first because it's right
Okay.
here in front of me.
Okay.
Nubu is Nubu Tune Studios is a studio that I've created to um, bring out people to create a platform for our children, for the youth.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
realized when I went to Africa, for example, I realized in Africa they didn't have any black cartoons for Africans out there. And I looked through the channels, I looked through everything. They was trying to set it up, they couldn't set it up because of the lighting problems they was having out there. The power go out. A lot of animators are looking for money. They're looking to try to build up content. They have great ideas in doing it, but nobody's executing because of the problems that they have in Ghana. So me, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do what I got to do to get things moving. So in the beginning stages, it was called Bebu, not Nubu. It was called Bebu. And Bebu, and the reason why I called it Bebu is because when I formulated the name, I looked at it like, well, a man called his woman Bay and she called him Boo. So why not call it Bay Boo? And you see
Mhm.
baby in there. So I said, that's perfect. The marriage. So I went years with Bay Boo. But then again, when I got to Africa, I was like, you know what? No, let me create let me change the name. Let
Mhm.
me focus on the people. Let me go within and
Mhm.
and you know and so when I went within, I said, you know what? If you say in you, be
Mhm.
you,
Wow.
then you exactly. If you say in you, be you, you're being yourself. So I say in you, be you, new boo, be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I came up with that, and it worked out better that way. And the some of the characters that I did have all different ethnics in the
Mhm.
very beginning when I came up with Bebu, but I chose to take them all out and um, I'll make them. I made them all melanin, so that is just
Wow.
working that
Okay.
way. And the reason why, because I wanted our people to see themselves in
Mhm.
Africa. And when you see these characters here, when you
Mhm.
go to the website nubu.world,
Mhm.
you can see the characters, and you'll be able to see it and get a greater understanding of who they are. Very powerful, very very powerful characters. Very powerful. They got books out. They got um, um, merchandise and etc. They got everything going on. So.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Like you're doing some powerful stuff. You really and truly
Thank
are.
you. Thank you.
Especially for the Black community. And
Oh
I
yeah.
appreciate that. That is truly, truly amazing. Tell me a little bit about Planet X.
Planet X is well, when I came up with the name Planet X, um, it's kind of it's real deep. When you talk about New Jerusalem,
Mhm.
right? When you talk about the Crystal City in the last
Mhm.
days of time, the Crystal City coming down out of from out of the heavens, etc. My thing was to focus on that, focus on the Crystal City coming back.
Oh,
God coming back, Jesus coming back. My thing was to focus on that ship or that highlight or that city coming down. And I know that in NASA they speak of Planet X. And in NASA they talk about Planet X as, they don't know what it is. They claim they don't know what it is that's coming back. And so they've been looking at an object coming back in the last days of time and they see it. And so this planet X is realistically is the New Jerusalem or the new city or the new dawning of the 144,000 that is coming back together again.
wow.
So I came up with Planet X.
Wow.
And that's how the name came. And what I'm doing is preparing our people, giving them a platform to understand that we can do anything on our planet,
Mhm.
anything.
Mhm.
Yes, they called us the unknown people for a long time. Those people that we need to eliminate and get rid of. The X, that's where the X come in at.
Wow.
So I'm making a stand and say, look, this is our platform. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're gonna be able to build and create and do whatever. And I'm gonna be the first one to start it off. So I came up with my own, Planet X. I'm starting a whole formula on bringing art back together again and bringing our people to the awareness of understanding who and what they are on Planet X. But when you do go there, you will see a lot of my work, which is costuming, graphic designing, editing movies. I edit movies and set designing. Do a lot of different things. So check out
Wow.
planetx.com. Yeah.
Wow. That's right,
Oh,
because
I'm
you
sorry, planetxcosmiccon.com. Go ahead.
you did stay in Hollywood for a bit, is that right? Or am I
Yeah,
wrong?
yeah. I've
Okay.
actually worked with Universal Pictures for a minute, and I didn't like it. It was very
Wow.
racist. Yeah, it was.
Interesting.
It was very racist inside. They did. There was some things going on, and I truly didn't like a lot of things that was going on behind closed doors. So I said, you know what, let me step away and do my own thing. And so I started my own company, which was called back then YNV Entertainment, and it was a modeling company. And the reason of starting that company again is to help the young ladies that was coming through because a lot of these women was coming from different, states all over the world, really, and they would come in and they would get suckered into either giving their body, giving up all their money to certain companies, and
Wow.
wind up, hurting themselves in the long run. And so I said, well, let me create a company where I'm able to help them with their comp cards, their Z cards, their portfolios, and their modeling stuff, and get them moving in that direction. And I also had it connected where they was able to communicate with directors and producers right there on the screen. So I
Wow.
set it up really nice.
Wow. Well, I do
Mm-hmm.
want to take this time to just like thank you for everything that you do for the community. I mean, you have done a lot with helping people, and that's something that I love. Um, Before we go, I have a couple of questions to ask you.
Okay.
And again, I want to just thank you again for everything that you do for the community and just for our people in general, and just for people in general. To just thank you so much. I know that you're a father and a grandfather, and my hat goes off to you for just everything that you do. But I am going to have to bring you back on so we could talk about Jesus and
Oh,
the
definitely.
Trinity. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to bring you back on. But just a
Okay.
couple of questions that I normally ask
Okay.
um my guests. So just three quick questions.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. What is your favorite color?
Ooh,
Black.
black. I like black, and the reason why is because number one, to me, it's a state of peace. It keeps me in a peaceful state of mind. When I think of black, I think of being in the womb of the mother. You know what I'm saying? I think of, when I close my eyes at night, I think of sleep and going to another faraway place. I turn my light off at nighttime, you know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? So that I can
mhm,
feel that peace before I go into that other piece. And
mhm.
so, I think black to me is just a peaceful state. It's just balance. It's a
Okay.
balance
And
man.
what's your favorite food?
Lasagna.
Lasagna.
Would you believe that? I was like,
I know. I can't even
lasagna.
see you being a lasagna person for some reason.
Yeah, lasagna, but it gotta be vegan. It gotta be on that level.
Oh, so are you vegan?
I'm really forcing myself to be.
Wow,
I'm really studying,
interesting.
yeah, because it's that time. It's that time in life. You like, okay, correct your diet, correct it.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. You are right. So, last question. Who was your famous crush? Everybody got a famous crush.
Mm, mm. Um, famous crush. I would say what was favorite, famous, favorite. I would
I'll tell you.
say
I'll tell you
Jen.
mine. I'll tell you
Go
mine.
ahead.
Mine
Go ahead.
was Kevin Campbell. My
No.
Tevin Campbell. I know it's crazy. I was young. I didn't know. I
Yeah,
like Keith
long as you say
Sweat.
you were young, yeah. But go
I
ahead.
like I like Keith Sweat. Yeah, just
Yeah.
and
But why?
everybody loved Denzel Washington. So hey,
Okay.
just
Okay.
saying.
I would say Janet. Janet was probably my thing back in the day. Janet Jackson.
Yeah, I
Um,
can actually see
I,
you like Janet Jackson.
yeah, I was like, yeah, that's my girl. You know what I'm saying? I got to see her on TV do her thing. But I think, and I think realistically,
Hmm.
um, she was my favorite until I think that her dancers, her choreographers,
Hmm.
stepped away from her. And the image and the brand that I was watching, I was seeing that she had, and not just, and when I say like, I'm not just talking about, oh, she's just cute, but I'm looking at what she brought to the table on all levels. And she had her dancers and all,
Hmm.
her choreographer brought so much.
Hmm.
And now that those choreographers left and started to teach others to be like her, because now everybody dance like Janet, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
It started to fade away. You know, the liking started to fade away because I started looking at, well, I think I was going for that image,
yeah.
that one thing that made her special and different from everybody else. And now everybody's the same. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, you are right.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
thank you so much
Oh,
for
likewise. Thank you
my
for having me.
very first guest on Chat
Yeah.
with Q. I really and truly
Oh,
appreciate it. I honestly do. Well,
thank you
folks,
very
I
much.
want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Chat with Q, where we talk about everything. And just for disclosure, I just want to let you guys know we will be talking about everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. There will be some sensitive topics that we will talk about, but I encourage you guys to tune in because Chat with Q is going to be great. And anybody that knows Q, y'all know I'm going to bring the awesomeness. All right. Y'all be blessed. I thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Ram, can you tell us where we
Yeah.
can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Planet X CosmicCon.com. And you can also find me on nubu.world. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, you
Thank you
guys be
very much.
blessed. Y'all know Q love you and y'all stay up. Everything is everything.